There was once a boy named Ethan who lived in a small town where almost everyone believed success belonged only to the lucky. Ethan wasn't the smartest student in school. He wasn't the fastest runner. He wasn't the most talented artist. In fact, every time someone looked at him, they saw an ordinary boy with ordinary abilities. But Ethan had one extraordinary dream. He wanted to build something that would change people's lives. Every afternoon after school, while his friends played games, Ethan spent hours reading books, watching educational videos, and learning new skills. The beginning wasn't exciting. He failed his first exam, then he failed another. When he tried learning computer programming, his projects crashed every single day. His classmates laughed. "Maybe this isn't for you. You should give up. You're wasting your time." At first, those words hurt. But instead of quitting, Ethan wrote something on a small piece of paper and taped it above his desk. "Every failure teaches me something success never could." Every morning he read those words before starting again. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into years. The failures didn't stop. He entered competitions and lost. He applied for scholarships and got rejected. He sent ideas to companies and never received a reply. Sometimes he wondered if everyone else was right. Maybe he really wasn't good enough. One rainy evening, after another rejection email, Ethan walked outside. The streets were empty. Rain covered everything. He sat on a bench and watched tiny drops fall into a puddle. Each drop seemed meaningless. But after thousands of drops, the puddle became a small pond. At that moment, something changed inside him. He realized success works the same way. One effort doesn't change your life. The next morning, he returned to work with a different mindset. Instead of chasing success, he chased improvement. Every day he asked only one question: can I become just 1% better today? Some days the answer was yes. Some days it felt like no progress at all. But he kept showing up. 1 year later, something incredible happened. The project that had failed dozens of times finally started working. Not because Ethan became a genius overnight, but because every mistake had quietly taught him exactly what not to do. People suddenly called him talented, lucky, gifted. They never saw the hundreds of invisible failures behind that one visible success. Soon, Ethan was invited to speak at schools. Students asked him the secret to success. They expected a magical answer. Instead, Ethan smiled and said, "The world celebrates success, but success is only the final page. The real story is written in the chapters nobody wants to read." He explained that confidence isn't something you're born with. Confidence is built every time you keep going after wanting to quit. Discipline isn't about feeling motivated. It's about doing the work even when motivation disappears. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to move forward despite fear. Years later, Ethan built a company that helped thousands of students learn new skills. People admired his achievements. News articles called him an overnight success. Ethan laughed every time he heard those words, because he knew the truth. There are no overnight successes. There are only years of unseen effort that finally become visible. If Ethan had quit after his 10th failure, the world would never have known his name. If he had stopped after his 50th rejection, his dream would have died quietly. If he had listened to people who doubted him, your biggest breakthrough might be hiding behind your next attempt. The difference between winners and quitters is often much smaller than people think. Sometimes, it's just one more try, one more day, one more lesson, one more step. Remember this: failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the path that leads to success. So if you're struggling today, if people don't believe in you, if progress feels painfully slow, keep going. Because the seed grows underground long before anyone sees the tree. And one day, the same people who doubted your journey will admire your destination. Never stop believing, never stop learning, never stop trying, because your story is still being written. If you love stories that fuel your growth, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and share this with someone who needs to hear it today.